Everyone, good morning. Welcome to the Trustworthy Inbox webinar. Glad to have you with us. It is Wednesday for most of you, but for me, I'm actually talking to you from the future. No, I'm not crazy. I'm actually in New Zealand right now, where it's Thursday and early in the morning, but it's still in the future compared to you. So any tips that I give you, you're welcome to use them as best you might. Thanks for joining. We skipped there. I'm Nat Robinson, founder and CEO of Trustworthy, and I'm joined by the lovely Ellen Goodwin, who is our head of customer experience. Thanks for being here. Today, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping to get started. Would love to hear your questions if you have them. So if you have questions, just navigate to your mouse to the little icon with 9 dots in the bottom there. Click it, open it, and then select Q&A, and you can just type in your questions. And we'll queue those up for a little bit later in the presentation. Today, we're going to look at the latest version of Trustworthy and talk about some of the new features. We're going to talk about some of the ways that we've adopted AI in the product, or intelligence, across automation and giving you better access to your information and context and understanding from it using some of the new features. And you're going to see a quick walkthrough, maybe not just a quick walkthrough, maybe a long walkthrough of the product, depending on how many questions you have. So let's get into it. First up, just a brief history of the software platform that we've built. We call it the Family Operating System. And we're at a stage where it pretty much does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. We call that automatic organization. And then we ingest that and we help make sense of it. We sort of build a model of your household based on the information that you've added so that we can understand it, and so that you can then get guidance and ask questions about your information and take action on things that need updating, or maybe addressing things that you haven't done yet or that you might need to do to make your household more resilient. We started the company back in 2020. We knew that there were some fundamental elements that we had to introduce, and the first and foremost of those was a secure and private platform, and kind of a philosophy, you might say, of, hey, let's build a place where families can keep their information safe and secure and not have to worry about it being sold or traded, or, that was never part of the company that we wanted to build. And so we set about doing that and built probably one of the most secure platforms in the industry for any kind of information, especially for family information. We have all the compliances and certifications that you would expect from SOC 2, SOC 3, HIPAA compliance, GDPR, so on and so forth. And that's ongoing. It's not something we did once a long time ago, and it's constant. It's part of every decision that we make and built into every part of the product. The next thing we knew is we have to make this easy for folks. How do we make it easy for them to look at all the silos of information that they have and get the bits of information and get a centralized view of that stuff, whatever it is, if it's estate plans, insurances, financial accounts, on and on, so that they had that sort of master console, if you like, and could look across, rather than looking at all the fragmented pieces all over the place. They could have a view of it and keep track of things and share that with their loved ones and trusted advisors. So we built a lot of curation, ease, it says here on the slide, but what that means is making it easy. You can drag and drop things. You can use the mobile app, take a scan of a document. You can forward an email with an attachment. We'll grab that. Now you can connect your Gmail. We can monitor it for attachments that might be useful and that you might want to store in Trustworthy. So on and on, we've built a lot of facility. We did a presentation last week with ScanSnap. So if you ScanSnap scanner, you can scan things directly to Trustworthy. There's a whole world of how we make it easy for you in curating your system. We wanted to add value on top of those. So when documents come in, we look at the documents. We have built a system that understands household documents. We call that the household data graph. So they can map all the things across your system and then look at anything that has an expiration date and say, oh, this is important. We need to notify you before this thing expires. Could be an insurance policy. You don't want to miss a payment and have your premiums go up. Could be a driver's license or passport, whatever it is. If there's an expiration date, we automatically notice that and create reminders for you in the system so that you can stay on top of things and ultimately avoid, penalties or late fees or inconveniences that would occur if you were not on top of things. We built iOS app quite a while ago, and then more recently built the Android app as we saw demand for that to give you really to put all that information in your pocket and give you the capability to scan things as quickly and as they come in the mail, like physical items or documents that you might get. And then not so long ago, we built Autopilot to automate a lot of this and to start to look at your system and look for gaps that you might have and say, hey, I think there's an opportunity here to make your family more resilient. And that was a big part of what we released with Trustworthy Next. So that's a brief history of the system, a little explanation of what we've built. Why we built it, obviously, is that we just live in a time where information is very fragmented. Most families have hundreds or thousands of bits of information that are, we hear this phrase again and again, it's all over the place. And they were looking for a way to not lose track of something, to get that sort of overview of all their household important items, and to be able to share that with loved ones and trusted advisors and other professionals that they need to share information with. So that's a description of the system. I'm going to hand it over to Ellen, and she's going to give you a demo of how it actually works.
Thank you, Nat. Hi, everybody. So I'm not going to be doing a demo that is every single feature you're ever going to encounter on Trustworthy. That would be a little overwhelming. But I do encourage you, if you're at home or you've got a wallet on you or purse and you have any form of ID, or maybe you got the mail and it's sitting next to you, grab a document. You can follow along with me. I am going to be starting from a blank account. And so if you're in that state, you're brand new, or if you already have one, you're still going to pick up tips as we go along here. So let me pop over now. And with the luck of the system. All right. And permission. Okay, here we're over on Trustworthy. Let me make that a little bigger for you. So as I said, if you're like me, maybe you have this blank account and it tells you just add a document. And that's going to be my mantra for you all throughout this presentation. Just add a document. Dragging and dropping it into Trustworthy from wherever you have it on your desktop or your device. We'll show you how to do it on mobile. It gives you the best foot forward so that the system can do more of the work for you, as Nat was just talking about. So as I do this, I'm going to drop in some files and you're going to see them automatically start to process. And why is this important? It's important because we're extracting key information from these documents that will be helpful to you for creating reminders, for understanding how bits of information relate to each other. And you don't have to type it in. You just get to review the results, approve them, change them if you want first, and move on with your day. You don't have to do it all at once. You can leave things here in your inbox, but it's a really great place to drag and drop things and come back to if you need to. In addition, I want to flag kind of a hidden feature. You can also drag a folder into here, not a zip folder, but if you just have a folder, you downloaded it from somewhere, it's sitting on your desktop of your computer, you can drag the whole folder right here and it will start processing the contents of that for you. So it really is the best place to start. And you're seeing here that's extracting the information from each of these files as we go along. Once it's done, you're going to see a bit of information provided from Trustworthy. So here's a driver's license, and it's telling me right away, we have little tips here and there that I can edit edit the name. The autopilot tool suggested this is Emily Reynolds' driver's license. That seems like a reasonable title. I'll leave that alone. It provided me with a quick summary if I need that information. Really relevant for long details and long documents. Imagine if you have a long-term care policy and it's 30 pages long. You're going to really like that AI summary here at the top. Trustworthy is also going to suggest where to put this, a logical place. It doesn't mean it's perfect for you. Perhaps you have a different place you want to move that to, and you have a little option to click and you can choose a new location for that. But we will automatically suggest a logical location. And here's where you can start to see the extracted details from this driver's license. Keep in mind, all of this is sample data, no real data here, but we do hide license number, for example, and I can click to review that. I can also copy that and paste it somewhere else I might need it. I can see that it's related to Emily Reynolds, and there's this little plus sign telling me, hey, do you want to add Emily Reynolds to this brand new account as a family member? You bet I do. So this is your review pane. You don't have to change anything. You can say, great, the reminder's already created for me. I won't forget to renew that. You might edit that reminder. Perhaps you live somewhere where it's a 6-month waiting list at the DMV. It's like that here in Austin, Texas. Maybe you want that reminder earlier. You can edit that. But in general, you're often going to be able to just accept that filing location and move on with your day. And we will tuck that driver's license away into the account. You get a little review here. I can see it's in Emily Reynolds' account. Here's her driver's license. I can click and I can see all that same information that I just saw before. So that when Nat was talking about extracting all those great details and organizing for you, that's what we're talking about. Drag and drop makes it really easy. Now in family, I can see I have Emily. Yes, Nat.
Alan, you didn't need to type any of that information in. You didn't need to look at the document, type it in a field, next field, next field. It did it all automatically for you, right? So a huge time saver.
Yes.
I think this is one of the most underappreciated features in Trustworthy. It's just all happening automatically.
And exactly. And that's my mantra. Just drag it in and let the system try. Is it going to be perfect on every document known to man? No. Will it do a really good job on your main household documents? Absolutely. And it's learning more every day. Let's show
I have a
another.
great stat for you here.
What
We
was
just
that?
did some analysis. We just did some analysis of the correction rates
Yes.
to show you how good it is. What we saw was about a 1.7% correction rate where people will say, oh, yeah, maybe you didn't get it quite right, or there was some document that had a different language on it, like French or something else, and you didn't get it quite right, and I had to go in and correct it. So the 1.7 correction rate is what we see as a number. We track that pretty diligently in terms of like how good is it. That means that, about 98% accuracy in terms of this document, and a 1.7% correction rate where people have to go in or decide to go in and change things. They could be changing a title. I didn't like that title that you gave it. But a lot of it happens automatically and pretty accurate in most cases.
No, you're exactly right. And we also try and create a lot of flexibility in the system so that you can edit things as you're going along, right? And here we're suggesting you might want to add Goldman Sachs when you upload your statement. You don't have to. And let me show you what that looks like. The flexibility is what a lot of people appreciate. And it's taken time to really get the right balance for our members, how much you want us to do and fill in and how much you want to do yourself. When I accepted that bank account statement, I created a page for Goldman Sachs. You can see it here, added the account and routing information that you're constantly going to need when you set up things. It tied it to David Reynolds because his name was on the statement. It's all here as well as the statement. Now, what happens though, and this does happen sometimes, maybe there was something misleading on the document that made the system think it's a savings account. And it's not. It's your core checking account. You can also click on savings account and you can say, nope, it's my checking account. And you can move it over to that and reclassify it. So we've created a lot of that flexibility because only you know your information the best, right? The system kind of works on the world of averages and also the world of trustworthy. We've learned a lot over the years that we've been building this about how families and their account information work together so that we could build our household data map. And that's what's reflected here, but the control is always yours. So I'm going to
I
take a
just want
pause.
to add,
Yep.
sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
again. In case people aren't noticing, as Alan accepts these documents into our system, on the left side here, we see these categories start to light up. They're grayed out until you add a document that fits that category. But you can just see those start to fill in as new items arrive. And this is really the household data graph at work. It's mapping all those entities across from the documents, extracting them, building that picture of them, and then saying, oh, I can create a bank account. There were two people on this bank account. I can create the people. If there's an insurance policy, maybe there's a property or a car or something, piece of property, I can create those as well. And it's doing that, doing all the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Nat said, these categories do light up. You can also still go directly into them. I want to go to insurance and I want to think about what materials am I going to gather up and get ready to add to Trustworthy. We always provide you something that isn't a blank page. Blank pages can be intimidating to start from. So here it's saying upload a document. We're going to help you out, right? And what kind of insurance documents are most useful to you as you're running your life? Declarations pages, disability insurance types, health insurance. We give you all sorts of examples to get you started. And then I think your life kind of unfolds before you and you know other things that you want to add. You can create pages manually. It just means you're typing it all manually. So this is why we are always emphasizing the value of dropping in a document. While we're here, I also want to show you something that comes up all the time when I'm talking with customers, which is, okay, I have my savings account. I have this statement. How do I organize other related documents for this account? You have a couple options. You can always add files here and they'll just kind of grow, but you can add a folder as well. So if you want to have your 2026 statements in one folder, you can do that. And the beauty of that is the system will understand, great, there's this new folder here. And the next time you upload a statement, when you're in the inbox and you want to say, I want to file that statement. Now, this is not the same one, but if I wanted to file this statement to that new location, I can say, great, I want to go put it over there in finance in the folder I just created. So the system kind of builds on itself and keeps morphing with you to evolve with the information that you're using inside. Nat, did you have any comment there?
No, thanks for asking.
I can't see you. I'm flying blind.
Gotcha.
Another point that I wanted to make is about reminders. So I showed you that we automatically created a reminder for Emily. One of the greatest things here is not just the due date, but how long you need advance notice. So you can add notification periods to your reminder. This one has multiple notifications already built in. But in addition, my favorite little life hack for you all is notes. I call these notes to self. This is the remember to bring a utility bill with to the DMV, whatever you need to know. And anyone else who has full access on your account will be able to see that reminder. They will also know, don't forget the utility bill. So make use of those reminders. They're really, really helpful. Now, I just alluded to the fact that there might be other people on this. This is your household account, right? We've already added a couple documents with a couple different family members. You can also add pets, by the way. My account has my dog and documents related to him. So I recommend that. But these family members are not necessarily created equal. If David is the father in the household and Emily is the child, maybe Emily, as a 14-year-old, only needs access to the insurance card, for example. Or maybe you're going to add a password to the front gate, and she will have that if she ever loses it, right? So what information is shared is completely in your control, right? So I'm going to make this front gate, and I can add in the code so that if Emily ever needs it, she forgot it, maybe she's 6. Well, she's 6. She's probably not on here, frankly, but you have the front gate code there, right? So you can permission all of this. I'm on a free account, which will limit me for this demonstration purpose, but I want to show you that in your account settings under manage access, we have 3 types of collaborators: full access collaborators, partial access collaborators, and legacy. You can always add a legacy access collaborator. And the reason for that is this information that you're adding is vital to your life. And we don't want that to disappear in case of an emergency upon death or incapacitation. So as a result, you always should and can add as many legacy access collaborators as you need. You'll simply fill in the form here. They will receive a notification by email. They'll review, it'll tell them all about what this means, and they can accept. Then, in the event something happens, they can come to Trustworthy. They're already recognized as a legacy access, and we have a formal process to validate both their access and the precipitating event. Any questions here, Nat, regarding access?
No, I think, we've catered to all kinds of nuclear family scenarios and tried to
Mhm.
make that as flexible as possible to allow for every family and every kind of professional. I have my accountant here. He just has access to the taxes category.
Mhm.
My estate planning attorney only sees the legal documents category, but you can stripe it lots of different ways to suit your family makeup. Lots
Yeah,
of
it's
Yeah,
very
lots of families will
flexible.
have adult children in the parents' account or vice versa,
Mhm.
guardians, trustees, all kinds of dog walkers, babysitters who need
Mhm.
access to some of that information. We tried to make it as flexible as possible.
That's right. So what I want to do before I move into some other things, I want to show you another way to get information in, two more ways, to be honest. First, when you go to add something, you're going to see direct email as an option. This is what we refer to as email to trustworthy. It's one option for, hey, I've got PDFs, I have documents here, there, everywhere. I want to be able to forward them to trustworthy and have them land in my account. This is your unique email address. You can save it as a contact in your address book, your virtual address book, and your email agent. And anytime something pops into your email that's really important, you can forward it. You can also distribute this email to others. Let's say you're buying a new house and you want your realtor, the bank, everybody else to copy this address on all documentation. That's great. Give them this address and they can forward all that information directly into your trustworthy account where you can then filter through it and formalize it in the inbox where you would like that to be retained or delete it if you're like, I don't need this in this account. So that's one option. Another option is Gmail itself. If you are a Gmail user, and I think over 80% of our users have a Gmail account, you can actually connect your Gmail here. This means that Trustworthy will sync with your Gmail and pull in important documents for you again to review once we've processed them to say, yes, no, I want to keep these. When you connect Gmail, you will also have options to say only go back 30 days, 3 years, whatever it is. You can exclude certain email addresses or include certain email addresses to make this simpler for you too. So I'm going to pause there and I'm actually going to switch over to our mobile app as yet another way to get information in. Most of us have our mobile app, phone in hand all the time as it is. And so we want to make it easy to use that to add information. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, here we go. So this is the mobile app still here. Refresh. I could refresh this now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus button because I want to show you how I can scan a document that's in my hand and not add it to the to-do pile, but immediately put it in the to-shred pile, which is far more effective for my life, right? If I need that document sitting in a to-do pile is never going to help. So I'm going to go ahead and scan this document, which is, let's say, a Geico statement that just came in the mail. And I'm going to do it without scanning my dog who's sleeping behind, if you just noticed. So this is going to refresh. And what's really great is while this is loading here on the mobile app, it is simultaneously loading on desktop. So if you're like me and you're like, yeah, I don't mind scanning it in here, but I don't want to deal with it here, like the fine details, you can you can interface with desktop and mobile at the same time. They're both going to exist. Just like you saw over earlier, all these documents I had dragged and dropped, they're here. I can review them if I want right now while this is processing. If not, I don't have to. So you can see I tapped on the wrong one. It finished processing. I get that same little preview, just like you saw on desktop. But here there's a bonus that I want to point out, which was new this year. You see the little green check and available offline at the top. This is new. core documents, critical documents. You're on a mountainside and you need vital information when something goes wrong and you're calling for an emergency helicopter, or you're on the roadside and you don't have access to Wi-Fi, filling in a form on an airplane when you're landing somewhere. Any of these critical pieces of information is going to be available offline. It's a sync process. You'll see it open when you open up the app that we sync and make sure any changes you might have made while you're offline or when you're on the website have been synced in. But that means these documents will be available to you in a really important moment. So here it's in my inbox, but on the mobile app, and I can see the same types of information are available. It already knew these are the insured people on the form. They're in your account, but you haven't added Laura. Don't you want to add Laura? She's your wife in this case. It points out the insured vehicles. I hadn't added those to my account yet. This can do it for me. So this is, again, all about doing that work for you. So the account information and all of the resources you most need are going to be available. So
Yeah,
I'm going to,
I
yeah, go
was gonna
ahead.
say this mobile scanning is great. It's gotten really fast. I use it for all kinds of things like, oh, this thing arrived in the mail. I don't know what it is. Do I need to keep it? I don't want to keep piles of paper around. Or receipts. I usually you can get receipts electronically these days, like to send to your email, but sometimes you get a piece of paper, especially for large ticket items. You want to keep track of those receipts. So it's great for scanning those. And even the really like long ones you get from like Walgreens, it'll scan even really long documents as well. Does a great
It's
job.
great. It is. And the multi-page documents are great. I put the link in when Nat was talking about the scanner. They are great. When you're dealing with piles of paper, no one's going to click on their mobile. But let's say you have a 4-page new policy. You can do what I did, scan, flip the page, scan again, flip the page. It'll seal it up in one PDF and attach it to your account. That's also great when you're trying to use search or chat. Search is something that is practical when you know exactly what you're looking for. But here, if I want to say, great, I'll use this example, summarize my vehicle insurance, the system will be able to go back in and say, well, are there vehicles? Is there insurance? And it'll give you information. It will also give you pointers when you do not have information. And sometimes it's a little opinionated, like you really need a will. Let's go. So it does get a little opinionated, but you can see here it gave me a summary of that policy I just loaded in the covered vehicles, which is what I asked for.
Ellen, that opinion is called guidance.
That is guidance. I really appreciate it.
It's trying to be helpful to you.
One other thing I really like, and what to upload next related to that vehicle insurance. You can ask, like, what should I do next? I don't know. Tell me, right? This is going back to the you don't need to have a blank page kind of thing. I also use this personally. It's back to school season. I'm filling in sport forms and field trip forms and whatever, and it's inevitably pediatrician name and number, insurance group number and member number, and something else, emergency contacts. You can ask chat, give me all three, and it will give you all three. And you can just fill in that form and keep on going because my school's old school and it's on paper. So I have to do it that way. So here I did ask about the advice, like what should I upload next? And it gave me advice, vehicle registration, vehicle title, coverage information, things that I might want to search for. I get in a car wreck and I'm not exactly sure what the coverage is going to be. I can chat with my own information in a private environment to get those answers. And that's part of the real benefit here. I don't need paralysis. I don't need to go to a public forum to ask these sorts of questions. And then, yes, again, we always try and give you the linked connections to drive you right to what you're looking at. One of my favorite questions, prep, summarize the data I'll need to book international travel for my family. Keeping it really practical because you might get surprised. If the account knows I haven't added a dog, if I have a dog and my dog's rabies vaccination has expired, I'm in a lot of trouble. And it's going to say, well, you might want to update that. You've ignored that reminder from us. Now's the moment. Or did you know there's a 6-month backlog on getting that passport renewal? Move on it now, right? So it can give you a lot of great advice of things to add or check as you're going through these life events. And it will help you process those as well. Yes, Nat.
Ellen, I use it to understand documents, like the very dense documents, like an insurance policy or maybe an estate plan that you haven't looked at in a while. Like who can say they really know every detail of their insurance policy? Well, now you can because you can ask questions about it and say, "Hey, tell me what I need to know about." I just actually discovered something on an insurance policy that's like, oh, if this rental property is vacant for 90 days, then your coverage actually decreases by 50%. I was like, I didn't know that. I'm like, okay, it's really good at surfacing those kinds of gaps or things. You should know about this, and giving you a full understanding of your own documents, like your own important documents. You know, More important than filing them is understanding how those things in your life actually work. How does your estate plan work? How does your insurance policy work? What are all the things that you get as part of your insurance policy? Most people don't know they get, if you have home coverage, you get a little bit of identity recovery with that as well. Is that part of my policy? So, anyway, we can go on and on, but this is really helpful for summaries, for helping you figure out what to do next in Trustworthy, for understanding your documents, for all kinds of summaries that you might want to create. And one of the things we're thinking about doing here is letting you create new documents. You have my information. Can you use that to create something? So a simple example might be, oh, I want to hand the babysitter a summary of important information about the house, the neighborhood, the police, whatever, all those important numbers as they come to take care of the family members. Here's something that Trustworthy assembled. That's essentially a new document that you can share. That's something that we're working on right now. That's coming soon. Is really exciting.
All excellent points. And that's actually why you see that little beta label sitting there on chat right now. It is rapidly evolving. As Nat was chatting, I showed an example that you can go back to. It can create a reminder for you. It's doing more of the work for you without you having to click forms and dig into the actual system itself. You can ask it to do things for you. In this case, I dragged and dropped a file into chat. Maybe you're just working anyway, and it said, your life would be better prepared with that will I mentioned. Oh, fine. Here you go, chat. Here's the will, right? So you can drag and drop as you're talking, as it's saying, add these documents to round out your account. So here it's going to do a lot like you saw in the inbox. It's going to say, hey, here's this W-4. Here's where we think it goes in the 2024 tax documents. Is that a good place? And I can confirm and continue on. But chat is trying to do this work for me. It makes it more efficient. It also just takes some of the work off you of like, where do I want to go to find how to do this myself? I'm going to pause there. Nat, did you want to redirect on anything else or highlight any features? Otherwise, we have a lot of questions that came in before and during, and I think we better start answering some of those.
Yeah, let's get to some questions. They're important.
Perfect. You want to list the first one?
Let's see. I see one from Anurag. Should we verify manually when information is extracted from PBS? I'll take this one if I can. PDF extraction is actually pretty good. And I think with any document, you can probably take this approach of like, let me bring in a dozen documents and check a couple of them, spot check them essentially, and see how good the accuracy is. And if you notice a lot of inaccuracy, please let us know. Maybe it's a particular document type that isn't supported yet. We have pretty good coverage across household documents, but we're always finding the edges of that, and in some cases need to specifically train on those documents. So we'd love to hear about those from you. But I would take a sort of spot checking approach and say, these ones are great. I had some problems over here. Ellen, there used to be a way to report that in the app if you notice that the extraction wasn't doing a fantastic job. Is that still like
You
report this?
You can send feedback in
Just send
general.
feedback. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But it's gotten to a place where it's pretty good. So we like roughly 98%. So we'd love to hear from you if you are noticing a particular kind of document or a particular thing is not extracting well. How many gigabytes of data are we allowed to upload? Alan, we were just talking about this the other day. Do you want to tackle that one?
Sure. And I'm going to actually give you a reference point just so you don't have to take my word for it and you can check anytime you want. Here on our pricing page, you're going to find the storage amounts. And the reason we were talking about it is in the age of everything's digital, you might have a very real fear that you're going to size out your account really fast. But the reality is, even great photos that we take on our phones as we're bringing information in might at most be 10 megabytes. They're tiny compared to this storage. And this is intentional. It's intentional because we know where you're at now and where you might be going, right? And so we've sized it to very unlikely exceed or be too insufficient for your needs. But here are the limits.
Yeah, yeah, we'll say in our experience, it's very no one in the history of Trustworthy has exceeded these limits.
Yeah,
So particularly with documents, we're not people aren't typically storing, large high-res videos in Trustworthy. They're storing documents, and documents tend to be pretty efficient in terms of their size.
correct.
So there really isn't a practical limit. We have it there on the pricing page to give you a sense of what we think you'll need or a practical limit, but for all
Mhm.
intents and purposes, there really isn't a constraint.
And Nat, I wanted to jump in while I'm here on this page with a question we received in advance from someone who couldn't participate live. I think it's a good question. This person has a care provider that comes into their mother's home. Mother is independent but takes on certain tasks. How can she provide more information to this care provider to facilitate day-to-day activities? That's the question. I asked for follow-on detail, and let me show you what we came to the conclusion of. Let's say this is mom's property and it's here in your account, or mom's living with you and you need to give access to certain information. What you can do is you can actually create connections. So if you recall earlier, I added a front gate code. That type of information is really important to someone that's coming to the house and needs access. Same with a garage door, a medicine box. If that person is a medical care provider and needs access to a lockbox with medication, that type of information you can add through connections. This is the way of like, I see my world this way, and it includes all of these things. You can add all those connections inside your account. More importantly, when it's the care provider situation, I reference family resources where you can create a free text document. This can be mom's care instructions. And the beauty of this is it's free form. You can write out anything you want, save it here, and securely share this document for an hour, a day, a week, or indefinitely through adding that person as a partial collaborator and giving them access to these instructions. Then you have one single point where you're maintaining instructions. You can link these to mom's family member card if you have mom included. You can add it as a connection to mom. So there's a lot of ways to handle custom information, and you're welcome to reach out to support@trustworthy.com anytime you have questions that you feel are really custom to your life. We have a lot of ways that we can help you work with that information. Over to you, Nat.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Richard asks, can you access the driver's license image for proof of address? I think this question came in before we showed mobile. But Richard, that is a phenomenal way to show any document is like, look, I have it here in my pocket. Here's the driver's license. On your mobile device. I will say, some people still don't accept digital driver's licenses. They might need it physically, or they might actually want to swipe it in some cases. But for I think the majority of cases, a digital version of your driver's license for many use cases is sufficient.
Yep,
Um,
exactly. And Nat, I even had this in real life. We have our own team folks here at Trustworthy has a channel we call Trustworthy in Real Life. This week, my daughter got her ears pierced. And we're filling in the form as we're on the way to the appointment. And she's like, Mom, it needs your driver's license. And I told her, open the Trustworthy app. Mom, it needs my birth certificate. Do we have to turn around? No, open the Trustworthy app. So it becomes really practical on the fly in ways you might not expect.
yeah, I think this is like death by a thousand cuts, right? I'm trying to get something done. I just need a bit of information. Where does that information live? Oh, thank goodness it's in Trustworthy. Whether that's copy and pasting a driver's license or sending some other kind of proof document that you need to send in that moment to get that thing done can be such a relief. Oh, I have it here, at my fingertips. One of my favorite stories actually about driver's licenses is Our accounting firm, one of our accountants uses Trustworthy and had a client meeting at a bar and had forgotten his wallet and was able to produce his driver's license and be able to purchase a beverage for his client in that need. So yeah, I think in many cases it works great. Can I checkpoint? So Anurag asks, can I checkpoint today's save image of my Trustworthy and restore a few months later in case I screw up Trustworthy by loading invalid documents? That's an interesting question. We don't have system versioning today in the sense that I think you're describing, which is almost like a timestamp version or versions of not just the documents, but the whole system. We obviously make backups and have a system log for every account, but we don't do that. And in this case, depending on how many invalid documents it uploaded, you could obviously just delete the offending ones. And in fact, that's why we have this triage stage here, especially for folks who've connected an email account, because they can look back and look forward as new things arrive and grab a lot of documents. And in this version, we're not applying reasoning to the documents. We're just saying, hey, we found a document. We think this could be important. Is it yes, no? And you have to decide. In the next version of this, there will be reasoning across it that says, I found 36 documents. It looks like 11 of them are ones that you might actually want to store in here. Did I get this right? Here's the list. Do you want to massage this list and before we file these, or did I get it right? And can I just disregard the bulk of those and file the important ones? So that's coming in a future, not too distant version, is applying that reasoning, which we think will be helpful. That's all the questions I see right now, Alan. Do you have any others?
I have two more that were write-ins in advance. One is, can I export my account data? Yes, you can. And we always encourage any platform you're working on to have a backup. A backup archive of your most important information makes a lot of sense. Just make sure it's very secure. But you can do that by going to your settings, and you can choose there to export your account data so that it's available to you at any time. Next question. Yes. So the question that was, if I add a partial access collaborator, it's my attorney, they have access to my legal, tax, and family categories. Can I change that? You have complete control over who has access to your account and the information within it at all times. So again, you would go to your user settings and you can manage access there, and you can revoke or expand that access at any time. Those are the only other questions I have. Does anyone else have any others for us? How do I undelete previously loaded document? Absolutely. There's lots of ways, as I hope is true with any software you're using, to accomplish the same thing. You can pop over to files and you can search for that file here, and you can go to it. You can search for that file. You can go directly to where you added it if you know where it is, and you can say, I want to get rid of it. It's in whatever category, and you can delete the file there as well. Let me get to one that has an actual document. Let's say my Geico policy was the old one and I got a new one in the mail. If I really don't want to keep it, I can delete that and it's right there. Now, something that's interesting that we do as a backup, let's say that you have added that document and linked it to multiple places. It will actually ask you, do you want to delete it from everywhere? Are you sure? And you can say yes or no. And that's just to be transparent so that you have kind of that big view of how that information is being used inside your account. And you can choose however you want to edit that as well. Oh, that relates to another question I had recently with a customer. If I delete this entire page for whatever reason, one of the other backup features that we do is if you have an important key document in there, we will send it back to your inbox for you to consider if you want to pick a new location for that document before we assume that you want to delete the documents that might have been there. We've learned through time that people will get click happy and delete things and have that feeling of regret. So if you really don't want it, fine, you can go ahead and delete it.
Yeah. One other thing I think is worth mentioning, since we've talked across different collaboration scenarios, is that you can be a member, you can have your own trustworthy family operating system, and you can also be a member or party to multiple other family operating systems. Maybe you have a brother and you're a guardian for his children, or some other family member. You have maybe in-laws, or really anyone that you can be a full access collaborator or a partial access collaborator or a legacy access collaborator on those systems. And you don't have to have a new login. You can just navigate across those systems with your same login. You do that from the menu down below on the bottom left, and it'll say, do you want to switch accounts? And you can just easily do that. And that's just an efficient way to dance across those accounts. Maybe your parents, your in-laws, your siblings, other friends and family that you might be trustees or guardians for, and you can see the access that you have. I don't know if this account has that set up, but yeah, switch household. And then you can see, like, I can jump to a different account and I'll likely have different access, likely won't be a full access collaborator in every one of those. This is especially useful if you have parents, older parents, or you're an adult child, and they want you to have some access, but they might not want you to have all the access right now, until their estate transitions. But that's a really great feature where not having to log in multiple times. You just use that single sign-on.
And that's the exact scenario here. This is Laura's dad. She switched to his household, where the only thing she has access to is his power of attorney. She's the medical power of attorney for dad. An emergency call comes in, she has access to the document that the hospital would need to work with her on his care. So that's exactly the scenario that comes up very often. This would show all households that you have access to. So, for example, my neighbor has access to our home for emergencies. She would find my account here, and as well as her own and any others.
Yep. I have a question about the company. I think it's a question about sort of, if I put my information in Trustworthy, will you be around in a couple of years? Company's been around since 2020. We actually formed the company in 2019, started operating in 2020. We have some great financial backers. We're a venture-backed company. We have some really great partnerships that we'll be announcing with some large corporate players this year and through next year. And so we'll continue to see that as a way that Trustworthy grows and sustains. But I get it, you don't want to invest in something that isn't going to be here tomorrow. But that's, like, we've been around 6 years now. We have a healthy, growing business, and some more big partnerships coming up in the next little while that we'll be excited to announce.
Perfect. I think that's it for questions, Nat.
Awesome. Well, great job, Ellen. And thanks everyone for attending. Really appreciate all the questions and investing time and learning more about Trustworthy. If you have any follow-up questions that occur to you after this session, support@Trustworthy is a really good resource to use for getting questions answered, for dealing with any issues you come across. We look forward to supporting you in the future. And thank you. Have a great day.